What happens as growth comes our way? What happens when a microschool potentially becomes a macroschool? When expectations shift, when systems change, and maybe when not everyone feels the same about it. And the truth is, this is exactly where our why, our mission, our vision, our leadership begins to be tested. Micro schools are built on closeness, and that's what makes them so special. But growth doesn't mean losing the heart. It means protecting it at a new level. Welcome to the Redream Education Podcast. I'm Mackenzie Oliver, Microschool founder, educator, coach, and believer in the power of starting small, dreaming boldly, and rebuilding the future of education one courageous step at a time. If you're here, it's because something in your life, your classroom, your family, your child, your community, or your calling is asking for a new dream, a wiser dream, a redream. This podcast is where we challenge the old models, rethink what learning can be, and build innovative pathways for children, families, and communities. Each week, you'll gain the systems, strategies, stories, and soul work you need to design personalized learning, understand how education is changing for the better, start or scale a microschool, lead with confidence, make a change for your family, and create an education model that actually works for today's world. Because you aren't just dreaming of something different, you are building it. This is a space where we re-envision what school can be, reimagine how children learn, and rebuild the systems that were never designed to meet the needs of our future and current generation. This is a podcast to redream education as we share insights, strategies, stories, and tools to teach our children better, transform learning at home, support innovative education models, and invest financially or personally in the future of students everywhere. Because you aren't just dreaming about a better education, you're part of the movement to create it. Welcome to the Redream Education Podcast. This is where the future begins. Welcome to another podcast for Redream Education. My name is Mackenzie Oliver, the founder director at Lighthouse Learning Microschool. We are located in Central Florida, and we are a microschool. Some may call us a macroschool. Tomato, tomato. Let's get into the details of how we started, how we have grown, not just in numbers of students, but grown as a school infrastructure with our mission and our vision. There was a time when parents would drop their children off at my doorstep, and they knew that I knew every child's story, every family, every little detail. They knew that I knew who was nervous walking in the door. They knew that I knew who needed an extra hug, who just lost a tooth and couldn't wait to tell me about it. When we started in our living room, it was me, my 2 daughters, and 5 other students. My mother-in-law started coming a few days a week for a couple hours a day. And I remember her telling me, Mackenzie, this is so good. This is so good, Mackenzie. You don't even know what God is calling you to do. And I'm sitting on my couch biting my nails thinking, don't even tell me that we should make this bigger. Okay, Grandma? Okay, Grandma Val? Do not tell me that we should make this bigger. And she's like, I can see this growing. I can see you having more teachers. I can see you having multiple houses and teachers coming in and teaching. And I said, but Grandma, I don't want that. And she got so mad at me. And she quoted a scripture and she said, Mackenzie, a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways, and you need to get ready. You need to be obedient to what God has called you to do. And I was like, but I don't want to leave my living room. I like it the way that it is. And so we stayed for 3 years, all the way up until we were busting out of our house. We had 18 students and 3 assistant teachers who came on a daily basis. Years prior, I had dreamt of having a school in our backyard, as I've mentioned so many times on this podcast. I was thinking I'd walk out barefoot in the grass. These little preschoolers would come over. I would prepare them for kindergarten. We would just live our best life in a little tiny house behind our main house. And I was really stricken by the fact that I now had 7, 8 students in my living room, and they were not preschoolers. They were kindergartners and 3rd graders and 7th graders. So, of course, you can imagine the many, many mornings that I spent on my knees praying, God, we talked about this, okay? We had this, God. Remember this dream that you gave me was with these little preschoolers, and now I'm teaching these grade level students that I feel insecure about, but I love it, and I want it to continue, but am I doing a good enough job? How can I make this better for them? How can I give them more opportunities and more experiences when it's just me? And I had reflected back a couple of years prior to the pandemic. I think it was in 2017. A pastor at a church had met with my husband and I. He prophesied over our life that we would be running a school, that my husband would leave his job, that he would be director of operations, that I would be directing the school, that I would have my hands in curriculum. And we met with him several times together. We were trying to start a nonprofit, and we were hitting brick wall after brick wall. And I stepped back from that and thought, God, this is not what you called me to do. Remember this dream that I had of the preschool, and remember all the houses that you took me to with the land, and I could just see this little school in the backyard. I don't think that I'm really meant for all that anyways. And here we were in our house. Here we were with these beautiful children in a backyard that was not ready for a little tiny house. So my husband and I, we went searching for a couple of years for a house, zoned agriculture, where we could build the tiny house in our backyard. And we kept coming up against roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And I would sit a couple times with my mother-in-law, and she'd say, Mackenzie, you know you're going to get a building. And there would be some teacher friends of mine go, you know you're going to get a building. And I would say, I don't want that, though. I don't want that. And I think back to my moments of saying this, thinking potentially 2 things. 1, how selfish was I to say, I'm not ready for it. I don't want that. How small-minded I was to not realize what God would provide for so many families. How scared I was to step into what God was calling me to do, which was way bigger than what I thought I could handle, we could handle. And that's what this message is about today, is about starting small, being afraid to grow, and not just me being afraid to grow, families being afraid for the school to grow, afraid to lose that closeness, afraid to lose that close-knit community. Maybe potentially people thinking, as you grow, you're going to get into this bureaucracy and it's going to get too big to handle. You're going to lose sight of why you even started. So we all begin to shrink. We all begin to have a scarcity mindset. We all begin to fall into the valley of despair and of fear and of doubt. And with that, we go nowhere. We started out, as I mentioned, with a little over a handful of students, and we have grown into almost 100 students, multiple teachers, and beautiful campuses. And that same feeling that I had of What if I'm not the one to meet them at the door? What if I'm not the one to meet them at the car line? Would still continue to pop up as if I'm the only one who can save the day, as if I was the only one who could deliver such goodness. It was a lie. Without having our school grow, our students would not have had the opportunities of art, of music, of PE, of science, of learning trades, of learning entrepreneurship, of learning talent development, of becoming so micro-focused on what helps children become proficient readers and gain in math and gain in writing. What was once small seemed so simple, intimate. And the question is, what if it was never meant to stay that way, and not because of my own thinking, but because that is the greater life calling vision that was placed over my life to reach multiple people in multiple generations and to have an army of people to help us reach that goal that was never mine to begin with, that was always a part of God's greater plan. This is very, very passionate and heartfelt. There have been moments and seasons where I have felt the weight of growth, where I've heard the concerns, where I've felt the hesitation, where I have questioned myself. Are we changing too much? Are we losing what made us special? And those are real questions. And if anyone is listening to this who is a teacher, you know we never went into education to become millionaires. That has never been a part of our heart, our calling, or our mission. But what we have been called to do is to teach and to teach well and to make a massive impact on not just one child's life, but many. And we have had to sit with questions and to think deeper. What has God actually called us to build? And I just kept coming back to this. It's not about staying small, and it's not about staying small in numbers. It's not about staying small in program offerings. It's not about staying small for the sake of comfort. We are all called to grow in our life. More children, more experiences, more people. I just heard a parent say, I am so blessed with the incredible amount of people that Lighthouse Learning has given to my child. I and you, if you are a microschool leader, we only have so much to give. And when more children come and when more families come, we do experience something different. And in my honest opinion, better. Something that actually works for all of us. And I want to say this clearly. If you or us are experiencing a season that feels different, if it feels bigger, if it feels more structured, or it's not actually what you originally fell in love with, I understand, because what you loved was real and it mattered and it helped you to build what you have today. At the end of the day, Lighthouse Learning and what you have built or what your children have experienced has never been ours. It has been God's. It has been a calling. It has been a mission. And it, I know, has changed everything for me. It has changed everything for my family. It has changed everything for my children. It has been a sacrifice. It has been a walk of faith. It has been a walk of obedience. It has been a walk of shattered dreams. It has been a walk of mourning loss and stretching. At the end of the day, it has absolutely been about being obedient to the process and paying attention to what has come before us. If you are a teacher, a homeschooling parent, or a brand new Microschool founder who is trying to figure out what comes next, you need to hear this. Microschool Masterminds is the community and coaching program I wish I had when I first stepped out of the classroom and built our Microschool. Yes, straight from the living room to now nearly over 100 students thriving in year 6. This is where teachers and founders finally get the roadmap, the support, and the systems to create a thriving microschool without burning out. Inside Microschool Masterminds, you will receive weekly live coaching with me and other powerful professionals who discuss strategy, solutions, and provide personal support. You also receive step-by-step modules to build your school legally, financially, and operationally. Marketing enrollment done for you with training that works even if you've never advertised before, and you can learn this on your own time through our Microschool Masterminds classroom modules. Worried about multi-age classrooms or curriculum? We've got you covered with our curriculum planning resources. You receive templates, checklists, scripts, and systems for marketing, financial systems, operations, community building, and growth. Everything is ready for you to plug in and go. Most importantly, you have access to a powerful community of other founders who understand your dreams and your fears. Whether you're starting really slow, or you're still teaching the classroom and you're dreaming of breaking free, or you're already running your microschool but feeling overwhelmed, trying to figure out also how to build a hybrid program. This is a place where you gain clarity, confidence, and of course, a plan. Because you don't have to do this alone. You deserve guidance, you deserve support, and your microschool deserves to grow with ease, not chaos. If you're ready to redream education and take the next step, join us inside Microschool Masterminds, where together we are building this education system better. Head over to redreameducation.com/masterminds to learn more. Again, that's redreameducation.com/masterminds. When we have started small, because that's how everything begins, small. Look at nature. Look at plants. Look at babies. Look at puppies. Look at animals. Everything starts small. Everything grows bigger. And when things are small, like a baby, it feels so intimate. It feels so flexible. It feels so relational. Families feel more seen. They feel known. They feel deeply connected. But that doesn't mean that as something small grows and changes, that they can't always experience that. It only means that it is shifted to more people, more adults, more humans that love children. Yes, more students come, more staff comes, more systems come, more structure comes. But it doesn't mean that we lose the heart, and it doesn't mean that we do not protect it at a new level. Sometimes growth feels like loss to people who loved the small, and that doesn't make them wrong, it makes them human. Some families do prefer a super small environment, a lot less structure, early stage flexibility. And not every family is meant for every season of a school growth, and that is okay. But we do need to reframe the narrative. We do need to understand the benefits of growth. I'm looking at my daughter who, when she was born, I never wanted to go back into the school system. The moment I was rocking her in my rocking chair and nursing her and singing to her, I thought, I don't want to go back into the school system. And now she's 18 years old. And do I wish she was still a baby? Yes, but would I have wanted to stay there? No. And was walking her through the stages of development and growth hard? Terrifyingly hard, okay? But for her, growing from a baby through early childhood, through adolescence to now an adult, and just like our school, growing through that, there have been more friendships, more collaboration, more opportunities. For learning, there's been better systems, stronger curriculum, specialized support. And then we have to think about sustainability, financial sustainability, not for the teachers or the directors necessarily, but for the school to maintain, to stay, to thrive, to have staff support, to have long-term vision. I knew I was not going to be able to stay in my living room with 18 kids coming to my house every day. My physical structure of my house couldn't even maintain it any longer. But growth allows us, yes, to serve more children, to serve more families well, and not just a few exceptionally. We can still serve exceptionally. If you are a microschool leader, you will be misunderstood. You will feel tension and you will question yourself. You are not building for comfort, and you have to remember that. You are building for impact. We have to stay rooted to our why. We do have to communicate clearly and often, and that is so hard when you're growing internally, when you're growing yourself, when your own family is growing through the change, when other families are growing and becoming a part. We have to build systems that support people, and we cannot shrink to keep everyone comfortable. We will lose our why along the way, and we will walk away from the path that God has organically, supernaturally ordained for us. And for anyone who feels, if you are a part of a school movement and you feel the tug and you are scared of growth, I want you to know that we see you, we hear you, and we care deeply about children. That is why, as directors, especially if you are in a school environment where the director has been a teacher, they have been a part of education, we did not go into business, okay? That was never a part of our life mission when we signed up for the college courses. When we graduated, we got the degrees and we got the keys. We did not get an entrepreneurship business background. So we are learning that in the process. But who we are at our core are teachers. And teachers care about children, and we care about families. Please have grace with us as we are learning about systems and processes and business and marketing and finances that we never wanted to be a part of when we became teachers. But God called us to this mission field, and please trust the process. That if He brought us here, He will equip us here. And that the mission hasn't changed. The heart hasn't changed. The commitment hasn't changed. What's growing is our capacity to serve, not our distance from you. We will speak to the mission of obedience, to stay aligned with calling, to let go of people pleasing, to trust the process. And some families will walk with us for years, some for a season, and both are meaningful. To our families, we will continue to serve you well, and we will continue to find ways to serve you well. I know for myself and for our whole child curriculum developer, my husband, the community liaisons that we have, the people who work for us internally, we are constantly thinking about how can we be better? How can we make this more quality? How can we change the schedule? How can we change this curriculum? How can we be so tailored to students? It's never, how can we make more money? How can we bring more students in? How can we make this bigger? And no, we'll never, ever get there without the first heart calling of serving families well, and nor do we ever want to get there without the heart and the sincere love for learning and for teaching. And to my leaders, I want to say, keep going, keep praying, keep discerning. And to myself, to our Heavenly Father, I have to say, I am sorry for the times when I have been so fixated on making other people happy and not listening to you, feeling afraid and not walking out of obedience, feeling nervous, feeling doubt, letting the pressures get to me, feeling stuck, feeling like I wasn't good enough. God, I am so appreciative that you have stuck beside us and have continued to bless us and bring families who believed in us and have stuck with us and have been so empowering and uplifting. And even if they've had questions, it's been out of a heart. And God, I thank you for that. We are not just growing schools. We are stewarding callings. And growth isn't always easy, especially when it changes what people once loved. It doesn't mean losing what matters. It means expanding the ability to serve more children well. I've come to peace with this truth, and trust me that it has taken many late nights, many sleepless nights, many early mornings, many tears over the cup of coffee, many walks, boo-hooing. Some are here to help us start. Some are here to help us grow. Some are here to help us sustain. And every single one matters. As a leader, I've had to learn. I can't make every decision based on keeping everyone comfortable. And I can't make every decision based on tuition. I've had to make decisions based on what will allow us to serve children well long term. My final remark is this: Lighthouse Learning isn't mine. It is God's. What you are building is not yours. It is God's. And that will change everything when you realize and when you surrender. It's not about controlling the outcome. It's about being obedient in the process and grateful for every person and every change and every nuance and every incredible outcome that we have been so privileged to witness. And I will keep showing up, and I will keep serving well, and I will keep building what I believe God has called me to build. And so will our team, our teachers, my husband. They will keep showing up. They will keep serving well. They will keep building what God has called them to build. And we will trust in the right families, and we will trust in the right season, and they will be here with us. And I encourage everyone to hold steadfast in that belief and believe that the best is yet to come. So be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire, and don't give up on your purpose, and don't give up on your passion, and teach your children to do the same. It is time to redream education and to actually take that next step. Join us in Microschool Masterminds every single week for live group coaching, self-paced modules, and of course, a powerful community. Head on over to redreameducation.com/masterminds and join us in our free Facebook group at Redream Education Microschool Community. To learn more, that's redreameducation.com/masterminds.